And thank you once again for joining us in today's session. I'm delighted that you are joining us in this journey to sales excellence. I guarantee you that we shall safely arrive at our destination, and that destination is meeting and exceeding our sales targets. In this module, we shall be examining the next critical pillar for sales excellence. This pillar is arguably one of the most important pillars of selling. That pillar is prospecting. We developed the winning sales personality in Module 1. In Module 2, we identified and understood our market. In Module 3, we created a plan to achieve our sales targets and revenue outcomes in that identified market. The next step in selling is to now take concrete actions to execute our sales plans and convert the plans into actions. The first critical pillar to achieving that is prospecting. Target-rich prospecting. I am of the strong conviction that once you get prospecting right, your path to sales excellence is assured and guaranteed. You can liken the pillar of prospecting to what engineers describe as the load-bearing column. Every other sales activities that you engage in after identifying your market, developing the sales personality, and creating your plan will be hinged on this pillar and the integrity of this pillar. Let's start by examining the concept of prospecting. But before then, let me ask you, who is your prospect? Please write your definition in your workbook. In my over 25 years of training and coaching more than 175,000 sales professionals across various sectors in different parts of the world, whenever I ask this question, I usually get responses such as, everybody is a prospect, a potential customer. Anyone I'm trying to convince is a prospect. Anybody I'm talking to is a prospect. Anyone who has not bought my products or services is a prospect. Now, these responses are usually based on the wrong interpretation and understanding of my question. Please listen to my question again. My question is, who is your prospect? Now review your responses again. Do you insist on your first definition? If you insist on your first definition and it's part of the definitions I just told you I've heard over the years, I regret to say to you that you're wrong. Now, I did not ask you who is a prospect. My question is, who is your prospect? So once again, I ask you, who is your prospect? Now, before I share my definition of a prospect with you, let me say that, number one, not everyone is your prospect. Number two, not everyone you're talking to is your prospect. Three, not everyone who has not bought your products or services is your prospect. Number four, and definitely not everyone you are trying to convince to buy from you is your prospect. Expectedly, the next question you would ask me is, who then is my prospect? Here's my response. Your prospect is anyone who can do business with you or can do business with your organization but has not started. Can you identify the two keywords I emphasized in my definition? What was my definition? Your prospect is anyone who can do business with your company but has not started. Your prospect is anyone who can buy your products and services but has not started. So my question again is, what were the two keywords I emphasized in this, my definition? The two keywords were can and your. Now let's interrogate these two words. Number one, your prospect is someone or entity that needs your products or services. Anyone who does not need your product or your services cannot do business with you and is therefore not your prospect. And let me illustrate this for you. If I am hungry and I'm not deliberately abstaining from eating food, it means I need food. Now, if everybody who sells food hears that Ferdinand is hungry and therefore assumes that I am their prospect, and they start coming to me trying to sell their food to me, they may be mistaken. Because if I ask for their menu, and when I go through the menu, I see carbohydrate-laden menu. Meanwhile, I am on a carb-free diet. If carbohydrate is injurious to my health, would I buy their food? The answer is no. So even though I need food, I don't need their kind of food. Therefore, I cannot do business with them, even though I am hungry and they sell food. So not even everybody that needs food would be a prospect for everybody who sells food. Number 2, your prospect is someone who perceives value in your product or service. Now, it's important for us to understand perception and value. Now, I said that your prospect is someone who perceives value in your product and service. Perception is the first trigger for every buying action. So what is value? Value is the perception of worth that makes you pay a price to obtain a product or service. So if I don't perceive value in your product or your service or your company, I cannot do business with you. Therefore, I am not your prospect. Now, never forget our definition of a prospect. A prospect is someone who can do business with your company but has not started. So if I don't perceive value, I cannot do business with you. Therefore, I am not your prospect. Number 3, your prospect is someone who has the authority to either buy from you or at least can take you to the person that has authority. So anyone who does not have authority to buy is not your prospect. And unfortunately, quite a number of salespeople confuse title with authority. They equate title with authority. There are so many people who have big titles in organizations, but who lack any semblance of authority. So if you go to such people who do not have the authority, and they cannot take you or influence the person that has the authority to buy from you, you are wasting your time. You're not talking to a prospect. Number 4, your prospect is someone that has the capacity to meet your terms and conditions for acquisition. For example, if you want to open a bank account, so you need a bank account, you perceive value in a particular bank, and you have the authority to open the bank account, and so you approach a bank. They would give you terms and conditions that you must meet to open and operate that account. It may include things like a means of identification, your proof of residence, usually utility bill. If it's a corporate account that you're trying to open, they may ask for your certificate of incorporation. So, if you can't meet these terms and conditions, and the bank will not waive these conditions, it means you can't do business with them. Therefore, you are not their prospect at that particular point in time. So, I may need to travel to Japan for a vacation. I perceive value in a particular airline. I have authority to buy the ticket to fly. But however, I can't afford the ticket. And the airline would not give me a discount to fit my capacity to pay. It means that I cannot do business with that airline because I cannot meet their terms and conditions to board that flight. If it also requires that I procure a visa before I can travel, and I don't have a visa, I am not a prospect because I can't do business with them. Number 5, your prospect is someone who is facing challenges or is dissatisfied with their current provider or supplier and believes that if they come to you or acquire your product, they would not face the same challenges. I am sure you know. If you don't, it's my pleasure to tell you that your best prospects are your competitors' best customers. Most of the prospects that you need are to a large extent already being served by your competitors. So, for the customer of another company, your competitor, to qualify as your prospect, that customer of your competitor must be facing hassles, challenges, problems in their current place and must believe that if they come to you, they wouldn't face those challenges. If I'm already using a particular brand of a product, before I qualify as your prospect, if you're selling a similar product, it means that you must demonstrate to me how that you're either faster, more cost-effective, uniquely different, you have a better service, for me to consider leaving where I am to where you are. Otherwise, why would I want to do business with you if you're not better or faster or more cost-effective or uniquely different from my current supplier?